So the important thing for you to know today is something you probably already kind of vaguely know. Now I'm going to tell you in detail why. Whoever controls Africa runs this world. And this has been the case over the last 500 years. And over the last 100 years, we can summarize the three scrambles for Africa and why they happened. First was the direct colonization of Africa starting 1884 when the Berlin Conference was held and the Europeans agreed to slice up Africa amongst themselves. Fast track to the First World War, 1917, until it ended around 1921. That was fought over Africa. Why do I say so? Because the Germans and their European partners were fighting each other on who is going to be the dominant force in Europe, and therefore who would actually control Africa. So the First World War and the Second World War were both fought over Africa, believe it or not. That is the reality. And then after the Second World War, the Cold War between the United States and the USSR was fought mostly in Africa by each one of these two superpowers, basically sponsoring its own dictators on this continent so that they can control Africa. Now today, those two phases are over. We're in the third phase of whoever controls Africa runs the world. This is the most benign phase where both the Eastern countries and the Western countries pretend to be nice to Africa, but all they really want to do is control African resources in three parts. They make it difficult for Africa to manufacture, because without manufacturing, we will never grow this economy, which will be the most time I spend today on this story. As long as we are not manufacturing, and we are only manufacturing 1.5% of finished goods in the world, that has to end. Before that ends, we will continue to be slaves in the world. Secondly, as long as we are not manufacturing, they then buy our raw materials, of which we are the wealthiest in the world. They'll buy them at cheap rates that they're already buying at, and they'll continue to fight over Africa for everything from gold to lithium to name it. Then finally, Africa continues to just be a supermarket where we buy other people's finished products. We'll be buying their products finished. We'll be hungry for Forex. Forex is like opium. It's just a drug. We are fighting over US dollars because we want to import everything. We don't rely on what we produce. And then we rely on what other people produce. So we're going to be poor for a long time until our manufacturing sector grows. And I'll spend a lot of time explaining why the youth, you guys, are the answer to the problem, but you are not fully aware of it. Next slide, please. So, next slide, please. I've already covered this one. So, the important thing for you to know is that in Africa, every one of the 55 countries in Africa is in a middle income trap. There is not even one country in Africa which is an industrialized high income country. Next slide, please. Why is this the case? This is because we are not manufacturing. This is because we have dual economies where the majority of the people are left out of the manufacturing sector, and the few who participate in supplying raw materials and manufacturing it have to export to make money, because those who are left out of it are not going to be a huge market for manufacturing products. That is why we are in a middle income trap. Middle income trap means urbanization is happening for social services. There is urbanization without manufacturing. There are no jobs in town, but people flock to the cities for social services. They just go there because life is a little easier than in the rural areas. They go there because the network works better, and the clinics have a few more drugs in them. There is no jobs, not even enough housing. So we are urbanizing for the wrong reason. Next slide, please.